Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so I'll call the May 14th, 2025 Transportation Commission meeting to order. Ariana, if you could please read the instructions.
Welcome to our virtual meeting. We're going to cover a few basic items before beginning. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. To members and city staff, members, if you are able, please activate your video and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak or ask questions. Staff, click raise hand when you are asked a question. The chair will do their best to call on committee members in the order in which hands are raised. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue. Members of the public who have registered to speak, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. The clerk will tell you when your time is up. After speaking, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the commission, please send it to the email listed in today's agenda. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Ariana. Aiden, could you please call the roll?
Sure thing. William Okovich.
Present.
Sean O'Brien.
Present.
Dina Nina Martinez Rutherford. Barbara Harrington McKinney.
I'm present.
Ann Kovich.
Here.
Robbie Weber.
Here.
Denise Jess.
Audio now unmuted.
Present.
Pepe Barros.
Here.
Chris McCahill.
Here.
Bill Bremer.
Here.
Harold Kleems.
Here.
Lynn Olson.
Here.
And then Kaylee Jameson is excused tonight.
Okay, thanks so much, Aiden. It looks like at the moment, as long as Alder Martinez Rutherford is not here, Lynn, you would be in a position to make motions or vote. But if she joins, then we would have all the voting members would be here and the alternates would not be able to vote. So we'll try and keep an eye on that. Okay, first item on the agenda is an honoring resolution honoring Justin Swerenberg for service to the city of Madison. And I see that Justin is here. Welcome. Mick, you want to start us off?
Sure. So this is commendations from the Transportation Commission for Justin Stuenberg's significant contributions as the City of Madison Metro Transit General Manager. Whereas Justin Stuenberg was confirmed as the City of Madison Metro Transit General Manager on May 5th, 2020 by the Common Council, and whereas Justin Stuenberg led Metro Transit through a period of historic change, positioning it as a national leader in transit innovation and navigating the agency through a global pandemic that significantly impacted transit systems worldwide. And whereas during his tenure, he was able to secure hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding and to build a strong leadership team that will help ensure the agency's long-term success. And whereas Metro Transit's revenues from regional partnerships have grown from $4 million in 2019 to $14 million in 2025, greatly enhancing the agency's financial sustainability and community reach. And whereas under his leadership and working closely with commission members and elected officials, there have been significant accomplishments by Metro Transit staff, with many transit programs and projects initiated, approved, and implemented in the City of Madison, making Metro Transit more efficient, sustainable, and responsive to community needs. And
whereas Metro Transit Network Redesign Project updated a 25-year-old network, redistributed service more equitably for our growing city, and positioned Metro Transit for the ridership increases in Madison. The new route system migrated towards more frequency and longer service hours, distributing transit service to areas of the city that had none, and redistributing some of the peak hour service to midday, evenings, and weekends, improving service efficiency and accessibility. And whereas the City of Madison has launched a state-of-the-art bus rapid transit, BRT, system as part of an effort to provide better access to jobs, reduce travel times, and improve transit equity throughout the region. BRT prepares Madison for the population growth expected in the coming decades. through the use of larger all-electric articulated buses, dedicated lanes, transit signal priority, TSP, and a new fare collection system, Metro Transit's East-West BRT moves riders more quickly and efficiently through the community. And whereas, in addition to renovating the 40-year-old main Metro Transit facility, the satellite facility at Hanson Road was purchased and renovated and now houses and charges our electric buses and provides Metro Transit service the ability to grow. And whereas North-South Bus Rapid Transit, BRT, is in the project development process and has been recommended for funding by Federal Transit Administration, FTA. North-South BRT will connect key residential and commercial areas, providing rapid transit access to 97,000 people and 78,000 jobs within 1/2 mile of the new stations along the route and connecting residents and visitors to many other important destinations. And
whereas the success of all these initiatives required effective coordination with Madison residents, elected and appointed officials, and various governmental agencies, and whereas Justin Sternberg plans to leave Madison Metro Transit on May 30th, 2025 to pursue new opportunities, and whereas Justin Sternberg's impact on the City of Madison's Metro Transit system has been transformative, consequential, and will last for decades. And now therefore be it resolved that the Transportation Commission expresses its deep gratitude to Justin Sternberg for his excellent leadership and significant contributions as the City of Madison Metro Transit General Manager, and be it further resolved that the Transportation Commission and staff wish Justin success as he pursues the next phase in his contribution. So why don't we get a motion on and a second on the table, and then we'll go to comments and discussion. Then Justin, we'll let you go last. How is that? Denise.
Yeah, I'd love to move acceptance of the motion.
Okay, and Pepe? Okay, there's a motion and a second, and I'll open it up to comments and discussion from everybody. So who wants to go first? Denise, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yeah, I'd love to. Justin, I want to express my gratitude both as a resident and also as a representative from the disability community for the really outstanding work over the last number of years. The bus rapid transit system and also the improvements to Metro in general make it a much easier system to use. You know, Dane County and City of Madison has 35% of the population who are non-drivers. And the BRT makes it easier for us to get to where we need to go within that kind of same time and energy spent as someone who has the privilege of hopping into a car and driving themselves there. The other thing that I really want to commend is the development of your staff and leadership team. I'm really privileged to work with Mick quite a bit and Mike as well, and find them to be just outstanding partners, really committed to equity of all Madison residents. So thank you for that outstanding leadership.
Thanks, Denise. Other comments? Yang, I know you had some things you wanted to say.
Thank you, Anne. Yeah, sorry for the background noise. I don't know whether you can hear that. But I'm actually traveling at a peer exchange event with about 20 other cities. It's a city hall, and they have a music event outside. Sorry about that. But I want to make the meeting so I can, officially thank Justin for the partnership and the collaboration, between Metro Transit and traffic engineering in the last few years. Justin really brought a lot of, expertise, a lot of passion into our city. Has been great pleasure working with him. So I'm going to, really missing him. And I want to, thank Justin, for the, contribution to the city and the collaboration with traffic engineering in making the city of Madison a better place for all road users. I think his work really left a lasting impact on our transportation system, especially in creating alternative transportation options for our residents. So thank you.
Thanks, Yang. Robbie, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to thank Justin for shepherding us through a lot of changes that Metro went through. I mean, we had introduction of electric buses, the network redesign, the BRT, so many different things, the fare system. And I know that not everybody in the city expressed appreciation. And, we're still figuring out everything in the system and things like that. But it's a huge number of changes. And I personally think it's improved our transit system enormously, even if not everybody agrees with that. But I know that it was a lot of work, a lot of really heavy lift. And I just wanted to thank him for getting us through all of it, and wish him well in his new position or his new endeavors, whatever it may be. Because I think that, Justin's imprint is going to be felt for many, many years to come. And I think that's saying a lot. So thank you.
Thanks, Robbie. Alder Harrington McKinney, go ahead.
Thank you very much. And Justin, I would need to add this in, and probably you would not have known this, but I was working with a family on a Saturday morning. And so at the end of our session, when I went to my car to drive off, I saw that mother with her 3 children, and she had to go from the west side to the east side. She had a baby in a stroller, she had a toddler, and she had a school-age child. And for her to get everybody where they needed to go on time, she had to start out early in the morning. And when I drove by, I turned around and went back and got her and took her to her location. With the new changes and with the new upgrade and all of the efforts that you put in, that mother would not have had to go through what she went through to get from one point to the other. And so Madison's transit system needed upgrading. And so you were integral, not just you, but the department was very integral in working to make that happen. And so on behalf of those who you will probably never meet and not know the impact that the upgrade did, I want to let you know that that upgrade with the bus system and being able to move families who don't have access to a car from one place to the other and made that transition and that time more efficient and better to navigate. And so on behalf of them, I say thank you for your work. Thank you for moving the city in that transportation corridor, well needed, and I'm hoping that the North-South would also come alongside. But I want to just recognize the work that you and the Transportation Department did in leading that. And so, well wishes.
Thanks, Alder. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Obviously echo what everyone else has said. Justin, you've done a ton in a short amount of time. But just to add to that, I think, as you've said, you, I believe, moved to Madison, took on this job with your family right as the pandemic hit. So not only dove in, but didn't get to experience all the great things about the city until, a few years in. So it was obviously a personal toll on you, and you handled it well and got us through a really busy and tough time. So glad that we did finally get to connect and get to know each other, and wish you the best on your next journey.
Thanks, Chris. There aren't any other hands up right now, so I want to take this opportunity, Justin, to offer my personal thanks. it's really amazing to look back at what's been accomplished, major accomplishments in a relatively short period of time. And I was involved in some of the behind the scenes work, a small amount of the behind the scenes work that went into accomplishing all of this. And I know there was so much more that happened behind the scenes that people don't even know about and don't realize and don't understand just how much work went into it. And it really has transformed our city in a very positive way. And it's always good to remind people that oftentimes we hear from people who aren't happy about something. But a lot of the time, we never hear from the people who are so happy about it because they just don't think that it's important for them to communicate and tell people how great it is or how much they enjoy it. But I know from conversations that I've had with people that that is the case, that people really enjoy the changes, and it really has made a significantly positive impact for the very long term in Madison. So thanks so much, Justin. Everything you've done is really appreciated and you'll be missed. So are there other comments before we let Justin make some comments and then we'll vote? Bill, did you wish to say something?
Sure, Ann. Justin, I just think that, the list of accomplishments in the short period of time that you've been here, that you've undertaken, these are each individually are significant, but putting them all together in a short time is just how you had everything on your plate and accomplishing all of this is. I know that some of the, you brought some excellent ideas for cost savings and so forth, and not everybody agreed, but I think that as time goes on, I think more people will appreciate the decisions and leadership that you brought are significant, and I think the city will take advantage of these changes for many years to come. So again, thank you for all of your leadership. Great job.
Thanks, Bill. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just echo the thoughts that others have shared. Justin, you've been a great boss and a great legal client to have. Your visionary leadership, your attention to detail have both been really just amazing to watch up close, whether it's dealing with political sensitivities of moving projects forward, your technical expertise, your foresight with managing processes and projects. So it's been really great to work with you on pushing so many aspects forward for Metro Transit, and just wish you the best moving forward.
Thanks, Eric. Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, so much has already been said, that all the great accomplishments. I do want to point out that, Justin, I think we briefly talked about that at some other occasion, but you were hoping that the latest ridership figures would be where they are right now, where under your leadership, as Chris said, I mean, you started during a very challenging time where bus service was reduced, where COVID was at its peak. And I think many people asked, how long is it going to take Metro to recover ridership? And then we had a Metro network redesign where the direction given was like, well, we want to opt for the ridership alternative with all the consequences that had. And here we are. We are back at ridership numbers as they were before the pandemic. And that's really an accomplishment that not many other cities can show. And so you, under your leadership, you made that happen. You led that teamwork of Metro staff, of other city staff. And I think, yeah, that's something really to be proud of. It's a great achievement. And I'm sad to see you leave your position, but I wish you all the best and say thank you.
Thanks, Harold. Pepe, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. Just very briefly, want to say thanks to Justin one more time. I feel like all the things have been said here. Justin, you took a position that was not easy to take on, especially in the moment that you did. And being the general manager is always a position of risk, and a lot of people come to you and for direction. I feel like you did an amazing job just by looking at the results. So congratulations one more time, and best wishes on your new endeavors.
Thanks, Pepe. And I don't see any hands. So Justin, did you have anything you'd like to say?
Sure. And just thank you all so much. I really appreciate this, and it means a lot coming from all of you. As you all alluded to, obviously the last 5 years have been an enormous amount of change, an enormous amount of work has gone into this from Metro staff, from city staff, from people on this commission, from alders, from all kinds of people. And you've spoken a lot of kind words about me tonight, but none of this could have happened without this collaborative partnership between all of us and all the hard work of all of us. And so I just am so thankful for all of you and the leadership that you've shown, making difficult decisions to move things forward. And it's truly been an honor for me to have this opportunity to lead Metro, to lead what I think one of the best organizations in the country. I can't thank you all enough. And fortunately, I am staying in Madison, so I will probably still see you around from time to time. But and I'm excited to continue to see and benefit from personally the investments that we've made here at Metro, and continue to see the city grow around those investments. So again, just thank you so much. And for those of you, I know there's a few of you I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, and I apologize, but I look forward to hopefully meeting you in the future. For those of you who are interested, I'm planning a happy hour on June 4th at 4 p.m. at the Great Dane. So if any of you would like to stop by, I'd love to see you.
Thanks, Justin. Any other comments before we vote? Okay, and thanks to everybody for all the feedback and input. I'm going to assume we have a motion in a second. I'm going to assume a unanimous consent vote. Unless anybody wishes to vote no or abstain. If so, please raise your hand. Okay, the motion is carried, and I will sign 2 originals, and I'll get one over to Metro Transit for you, Justin, and I'll send one to Aiden for the TC records so that you can have the official resolution. So thanks so much, Justin.
Thank you.
Yeah, we all really appreciate everything that you've done. So virtual applause for Justin. So again, the pandemic changed everything, so we don't even make noise when we applause anymore. So thanks so much, Justin. Okay, so next we have the minutes from the last meeting of April 9th. Did everybody have a chance to look at them? There was a slight revision that Aiden sent out earlier today, just with 2 small changes that he noted in his email. Did everybody have a chance to look? Chris?
Move approval of the minutes.
Thank you, Harold.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Alder Harrington McKinney?
I was not at that excellent meeting, but I went back and viewed it. And so I am going to not vote on that because I was not physically here for that meeting, but it was exceptional. And so I just needed to put that in. And Bill, you nailed it at the end. So thank you so very much. I kind of slipped that in, but I needed to acknowledge it was an excellent meeting. I hate I had to miss it, but it was excellent.
Okay, thanks, Alder. We'll show you as abstaining then. Any other discussion? Okay, I'm going to assume a unanimous consent vote with Alder Harrington McKinney abstaining. Anybody else wish to vote no or abstain? Okay. The motion is carried. Okay, do we have any public comment this evening, Aiden?
We do not. Nope.
Okay. How about disclosures or recusals this evening? Okay, seeing no hands. We do have 2 items proposed for the consent agenda. Do we have anybody registered to speak? It doesn't look like we have anybody here, but do we have anybody registered to speak, Aiden?
We do not.
Okay. Does anybody wish to have either, we have items 3 and 4 proposed for the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to have one or both of those items separated so we can discuss them? Robbie.
Yeah, I just had a couple questions about item 4.
Okay, all right. So we'll separate item 4. Anybody else? Okay. So then we just be including item 3 on the consent agenda, which is Legistar 87627, entering into agreements with City of Fitchburg, Dane County, and the Wisconsin Department of Transportation for the implementation of north-south bus rapid transit on state and county highways. So we would need a motion for the consent agenda. Alder Harrington McKinney?
I move, so move.
Okay, Bill?
I'd second that
Seconded.
motion.
Okay, all right.
I wasn't sure if
Okay.
you said Phil or Will.
Oh, sorry. That was Bill. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I'm typically no discussion on the consent agenda, so I'm going to assume a unanimous consent vote unless anybody wishes to vote no or abstain. Okay, the motion is carried. So why don't we go to item 4 then? Should we just go to questions for Stephanie then? Robbie, you had asked that this be separated. Do you want to
Yeah,
go ahead and ask your questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the text said that we're renting, there's 50 spaces, we're renting them out, but there's a need for weekend and evening parking. And also that, but the rental, I mean, it said that they were being rented out weekdays and 24 hours. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, are we putting in parking meters? And are those only, are we putting, are we still renting some of the spaces out and then the rest of them are gonna be parking meters? Or are they gonna be parking meters after daytime rental hours? I'm just trying to figure out exactly what we're doing here.
Sure, I can elaborate on that. So one, we have never had an hourly rate established for the Wilson lot. So that was kind of a lot that had never needed it. And so we needed to establish some type of rate for that lot. We do have a combination of just weekday daytime permit holders in there. And then we have some that are 24/7. So we're doing an experiment in that lot with some new equipment from our vendor, our meter vendor. So there's some new payment kiosks that we're going to try out. And then also offering the app and text to pay. So this will be for after 6 p.m. for a set number of spaces that will be signed that parking is available on weekends and after 6 p.m. And we want to do it for a few months through the summer, see how it works, and then determine A, if we want to expand on that, and B, it also helps us test out this new equipment to see if it's something we want to move forward with. So,
okay, so we're still renting some spaces, and so we're not necessarily setting a price for those rental spaces. We're only setting a rate for the ones that are not rented. Is that right?
The ones that are not rented with the 24/7 permit, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the ones that are rented during the day, we're setting a rate for evenings and weekends, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they'll be like policed 24 hours or, I mean,
Yeah, so right now we already monitor that lot 24 hours a day. There's a lot of spaces in that lot that after 6 p.m. it's a permit only lot right now. So after 6 p.m. they just sit empty. So this way we can open it up, and we've had a lot of requests from that area to offer more parking spaces at evenings and weekends. So this kind of helps fill that gap. So
okay, so currently it's permit only. So we're basically going to be better using the spots when they're not being, I'm just curious, do you know how many are 24/7 and how many are daytime only?
yeah, so I believe we have 35 that are 24/7 and
Oh,
the
wow.
rest are daytime only.
Okay, so then we would only be offering 15 spots because there's only
Yes.
50 in the lot. Okay. Okay. All right. I just was curious about how that was gonna work. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Robbie. Harold, go ahead.
Yes, thanks. Just I think the text of the resolution said that like the hourly rate is like, how does that compare to other parking options in the area?
So our on-street hourly rate is $2 an hour. So trying to set something in that area, we can, all of our lots have very different rates throughout the city. So this was just kind of a starting point. We wanted it to be lower. So it wasn't, like $1.80 like our garages are an hour. We didn't want it $2 an hour like on the street. So we've set it at $1 an hour right now because there really isn't anything else in the area to compare it to. So it was more of a starting point for us.
Okay. So you're gonna keep an eye on utilization and then potentially consider raising, lowering, whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks, Harold. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, we would need a motion to approve the resolution. Robbie?
Move approval.
Bill?
I'll make a second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Did you wish to speak to your motion, Robbie?
No, I think it's good that we're better utilizing the space. That's about all. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Is there further discussion? Okay, seeing no hands, I'm going to assume unanimous consent vote unless anybody wishes to vote no or abstain. So please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none, the motion is carried. Okay, then we're going to move on to item 5. Since we had a light agenda tonight, we had a suggestion to try and put together an in-person TC gathering involving a transportation-related tour or field trip. And last time we planned something like this, it took quite a bit of time to put it together. So I thought we'd kick this off with a discussion, gather suggestions from TC members for, transportation-related tours or field trips, gather feedback on timing of the tour and the field trip. Last time we ended up having more than one because timing wasn't always good for everybody. So I thought it would be a good idea to just kick this off by getting more information. And we have Mick and Stephanie and Tom Moore here to offer some ideas too, in terms of what kinds of tours and field trips we might be able to have. And so just wanted to sort of open things up and see what people were thinking about it. And Bill, this was your suggestion, so I don't know if you want to kick it off with any ideas.
Sure, I mean, I have ideas, but I'm more interested in hearing from our new members because they have not had an opportunity to see much of the behind the scenes work that goes on by transportation. But I mean, we have, personally, I'd like to see the new Hanson Road, and if that's available or if that's possible. But I certainly would not be opposed at all to looking at traffic engineering, signalization equipment that we have down at the municipal building, or that's how we're controlling our traffic signals. I always find that interesting because the technology is always changing and improving. So that's always good. But any of the things that I think that the new members might have an interest, and I would, what Tom or would have, or parking and metro, other things that they think might be of interest also would be great.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Alder Harrington McKinney, go ahead.
I am not a new alder, but I wanted to speak to the importance of, I participated 2 Saturdays ago in an event that we went to the small businesses on the north side. And what it did, it was a sense of onboarding. And as we do the work, we see little captures of our faces on the screen, but it also gives us an opportunity to know what the work is, to understand the work. It wasn't until I went and saw the small businesses and saw the work of the departments and what they had been doing that I really understood better, and I was able to communicate and be more present. I think that is the thing with transportation, because I've always felt that I'm trying to catch up, but transportation is so critically important. So that's why the recognition for Justin happened is that transportation, all modes of transportation is so critically important. And we play a pivotal role in how that is constructed. This morning, I did the walking tour with 10 small children that were walking to school. I mean, we have input in that, right? And so I'm really understanding how critically important we are to how people move around in Madison. And so I think it is important. There's great value in it, and I thoroughly support it because there are so many facets of all modes of transportation. I never even thought of little ones walking to school with a monitor in the front of them and a monitor in the back of them, because they are 1.5 miles from a bus, so they can't. The school district don't qualify for riding a bus, but we are very, very involved in those kinds of decisions that the city, the school board makes in terms of moving the mobility. And so I absolutely is 100% in favor of it. And I'm hoping that not only the new alders, but I consider myself a better informed alder if I participated in seeing and understanding, how and the why, so that when I talk with constituents who complain, I have the why and the how, and I'll be able to help them to navigate and understand that, everybody doesn't get what they want, but when you look at the overall positive effects of offering transportation for all levels, it is critically important. So I hope that we're able to do that. I'm complete.
Thanks, Alder. Denise, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Ann. I'd love for us there's been a lot of infrastructure improvements in the pedestrian and bike world. in the last number of years, and particularly making our streets safer for people with disabilities, for children. Thank you, Alder, for speaking to that. And folks who just simply need to move slower or more cautiously, because, we can't control driver behavior as much as maybe we would like. And I don't know if you're not a pedestrian in the regular world, how well folks are familiar with what those street features mean. There's a running joke in the blind community that is today the day I'm gonna die, and it's only kind of tongue in cheek because crossing busy streets is the most dangerous thing that we do every single day. And it keeps people sometimes locked in their homes because they're too afraid to go and navigate the city. And we have some very tough crossings. East Washington has been one of them. West Washington at Fairchild has been one of them. And those have been so significantly improved that it doesn't feel terrifying. You still have to be on your game and you still hope the drivers are doing the right thing. That infrastructure makes a world of difference. So maybe visiting a couple of those really dramatically improved intersections and looping that in with something that's down at the municipal building. So it's kind of a twofer. But I'd love for this commission and for the alders to really experience what it's like to cross a street using those improvements, especially if you walk using a guide dog or a cane, or you have to roll through that intersection using a mobility device.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Denise. Great suggestions. Alder Okovich, have I got that right now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Yeah, as a new alder, I would really appreciate going on a field trip. Don't get enough of them in my adult life. And I know in the past, infrastructure has been a big thing. I'd echo what Denise was mentioning about looking at pedestrian improvements, and another thing that I was thinking of would be signal controls. So like however they're going to be doing the transit signal prioritization for Metro, or even just current signal controls, whether that's on site at an intersection or at a centralized location. I think that would be interesting.
Thanks, Alder. I know I've been on a number of different tours over the years, and they have all been very interesting. Is that all you had then, Alder Okovich? Okay, Alder Pritchett, welcome. Go ahead. We can't hear
Alder
you.
Pritchett.
We need you unmute. There you go.
I echo much of what Denise was talking about with respect to how do you navigate, across the street, especially if you are sight impaired. I'm not sight impaired, but I do understand and I do appreciate greatly what she's saying about how to navigate a street, especially when you think about the Stoughton Road area. Now, I am a walker. And I understand completely what it means when you put your life at risk because you don't know. Now, I was hit. This was Halloween 2023. So I understand what it means in terms of scaring you to death. The one thing that bothered me more so than anything else was being hit, and will I now become immobile? What are the long-lasting complications of being hit by a car? Yeah. I also understand, too, crossing guards have been removed from some areas. That's a problem. Now, I have lived in New York City, Chicago, Minnesota, and now Madison. So I have experienced crossing the street or navigating the street. The one thing that bothers me now, in so many places now, There are cameras all over the place. I think it's important, or I think it would be super helpful if there were a good working relationship between transportation and who controls the lights. Now, if you know where traffic is really, really busy at rush hour and you see things are bottlenecked, now I'm trying to get home too, I'm on foot. What happens to me? When everything, all of the attention is devoted to cars and the movement of cars. What about the movement of pedestrians who don't have a say about how long the light is going to last? I think about streets now that have no right turn, and how that bottlenecks things when nothing is moving. Street signs, when you're at the corner of walk and don't walk. When do you walk? So there are lots of problems that I think could be solved if we had a good relationship between who controls the lights, the cameras, and transportation.
Thanks, Alder. Is that all you had then?
Yeah, there are lots that I could say, but I'm just going to withhold it for now.
Okay, thank you. Robbie, go ahead.
I'm presuming that the agenda item being a get together, that you're looking for suggestions on what types of field trips you would like to see. That's the agenda item, right? Okay. I just wanted to be clear that that's what we're looking for. Since we're just starting some of the public meetings on the north-south BRT, I'm always up for a good walk. So if you want to do an infrastructure walk around downtown or a tour of new infrastructure, I'm always up for that. But another idea would be to just tour the north-south line, since there's, we're in the middle of having public meetings about that. And some people on the committee may not be familiar with the route. So we could just, if we can get a bus, we could do a tour of the route and maybe discuss some of the challenges, ideas on how it might need to change, what it's going to mean for people along the route, what the route's going to look like, whatever. But it's just an idea. That might be helpful for people as we are going to be looking at it in the future.
Sure, and there's nothing says that we just have to do one of these. I've been on multiple numbers of tours over the years. Alder Harrington McKinney.
I wanted to put in the hopper, whether it's the upcoming one that we decide is that the Schrader Road piece. I have to put that either on a future agenda because that is so critically important in terms of safety. I drove that. I drove it and I walked it, and and I talked with the alder of the District 19, for us to have a conversation. I don't understand why we made the decisions that we made, but as a Transportation Commission, I think we need to look at those decisions. So if it's not while we're on the north-south BRT, I would like it for it to be a future agenda for us to really look at Schrader Road and the safety of Schrader Road with our little kiddos walking to school.
Okay, if a tour isn't appropriate there, we can certainly look at an agenda item for the future. Is that all you had then, Alder? Okay, thanks. Lynn, go ahead.
Yes, I am all in favor of any sort of meetup where we can meet each other and have maybe even better working relationships when we're on Zoom calls. I also had a crazy idea, which is, what if we all went on a scavenger hunt And we all went on a bus with a list of questions to ask and a number of people that we would like you to ask so that we could bring back feedback about in real time. What do you like about the bus? What's working for you? What's not working for you? And then come back together maybe another time or that day and gather all of those comments and kind of look at making a future a mission for what we're looking at doing for the next year, 6 months, whatever.
Okay. Other ideas? Mick, Stephanie, Tom, other thing, or Alder Pritchett, then we'll go to staff.
I agree, that looking at getting on the bus to go from point A to point B, but I think we need to look at problems or issues or concerns with structure in mind versus maintenance in mind. Because there are some hardcore maintenance problems, that have not been addressed. And then there are some structural kinds of issues like the roadway in the wintertime, it's snow covered and you don't know this or you don't know that with respect to getting across the street. But I also think too, that being at some of these troubled areas, I think the police department keeps a good record of accidents and where they occur. So if
Yeah,
we
we get a quarterly report of from the police department.
Right. And so if we know where there are places that are accident prone, especially between pedestrian and vehicle, then those areas could be addressed as well. But many times they just go, it's just a repeat police report and it never goes, beyond that.
Yeah, we use the high injury network for that kind of thing. But this particular agenda item is really looking at, as Robbie said, ideas for Transportation Commission gathering, in-person gathering with a tour or a field trip. So that's what we're really trying to accomplish with this particular agenda item.
Then getting on the bus, sometimes going from point A to point B. That's a tour. I've done it many times. And you see a whole lot of things if you're just on there and you're just observing.
Thanks, Alder. Is that all you had, Alder? Okay, I'll lower your hand then. So Mick, Tom, Stephanie, we've had a lot of good discussion. At the last tour I did, Mick took Denise and I out to the BRT station on East Washington, and we looked at that crossing. And Denise, that was so cool, wasn't it, to have an opportunity to talk with Mick and to get some personal time with all the new features and have an opportunity to ask questions when there wasn't any rush or any other concerns. So, I just found that really helpful. And we also had a tour of the of one of the buses inside as well, and inside the headquarters of Metro. But Mick, we have some time limitations on certain of those things. If we were to go to Hanson Road, for example, could we do that anytime, or would there be a certain time of day that would be better? Or is that something you need to look into and get back to us on, or we can get together offline?
We actually just had a tour out there today. We had the Dane County PIO group came out. They were there from like 11:30 to 1:30, and that worked out really well. But we're not as tight. The garage isn't as tightly packed as the one on Ingersoll. So I think we're a little more free with time. So if there's a suggested time, I can double check with the Hanson Road people and see if that'll work. But I think it'll be a lot easier to schedule out at Hanson Road.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, there are some folks who can't come during that time frame. So, and we've had that discussion before.
So if there's a suggested time outside of what I just said, I can double check on it. And like before too, I can also do separate trips or separate tours and show people around at a time that might work.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, that is something that I would say to, especially to the new members and people who've been on for a while, that I've had the opportunity to have some individual tours over the years, and staff has been gracious enough to do that. And selfishly speaking, you get an opportunity to really have your questions answered. So smaller groups of one or two can certainly work if there's a particular thing that you're interested in, and we don't end up with a large group. Pepe, I know it's been an issue for you. You've mentioned in the past, if we were to do a tour, what time works best for you?
Well, really appreciate and asking me directly. It's funny because at the time I was working full time, but I'm no longer in that situation. I'm working as a freelance right now, so I have a lot of flexibility. But still, I mean, I know other people have full time jobs, so it's definitely something to consider. But in this case, fortunately, I'm on the side of things where I can, put together my own schedule and make it work. So I know at the time I missed the garage tour. So personally, I would love to make that one happen, but I don't need to force anybody else that already did it. Maybe we can put together a group of people that missed that one or haven't done it yet, and make it happen. Of course, open it to everybody. I don't know how that sounds, Mick. The times you were mentioning kind of work for me nowadays, but again, we can maybe create like a poll or something to figure out what time works for everybody.
Sure. The thing that worked out, that was really fascinating about the tour that Mick took Denise and me on, was that not only did we tour the garage, but we looked at the crossing at East Washington there, which was significantly improved with that stopover in the middle. And I don't know about you, Denise, but it looked much safer to me. So, and then we also could look at the BRT station there and see, have an opportunity to ask every question that we wanted to about everything related to that. See how the new fare system actually works and those kinds of things. So that was fascinating to me, but I haven't been to Hanson Road, so that's also interesting. Denise, did you have any other comments about?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would add is thinking about the field trip, and is there a way to bundle multiple experiences? And the metro tour and the BRT stop was a great experience because we could look at the street crossing infrastructure, the light timing, the accessible pedestrian signal, and then the station features. And, I'm particularly looking at them from an accessibility standpoint, but other folks are looking from another. So, in thinking about the field trip, like making the juice worth the squeeze, so to speak, can there be a couple of things that are looped in together so that it's a really rich experience? And then the other question I had, Anne, and this is not appropriate for now, then that's fine, just kind of managing the quorum issue.
Sure, and that's something that we'll have to figure out. One of the Madison City ordinances, the BCC ordinance, says that we have to record all TC meetings. So if we have a quorum, and Eric helped us figure it out last time, we didn't have to do a video recording. We did, if I remember correctly, it was an audio recording is what we had decided on. So you're right, Denise, we have to post it as a potential quorum, and we have to figure out how to deal with the recording issue. But I think those are all things that we can figure out. Mick, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Well, I was thinking in terms of bundling it together, that we could, if we wanted to see the station, it would involve a little bit and ride the bus and do all that. We could park here at our offices, or we could pick another spot. We could go to the station, the Baldwin Street station, and then we could ride out to Hanson Road. One of our rapid routes goes right out to Hanson Road. It's a bit of a ride. I want to say it's like 20, 25 minutes, longer than 25 minutes. but it would be, we could ride a live bus, get out to Hanson Road, and then tour Hanson Road and come back. So there would be some time on the bus if we wanted to ride that live bus. Otherwise, if we want to do separate trips, I could always show people at different stations, or we could meet at a station closer to Hanson Road. That wouldn't be as long of a bus ride, but those are different. That's a way to bundle it all together if that's something you're interested in.
Okay. That I think the idea of bundling is great. Tom Moore, I want to ask you, Denise's suggestion about infrastructure, pet and bike world, and some of the downtown areas, and trying to combine that with something at the Madison Municipal Building, or in particular, Alder Okovich talked about and other people talked about the signal controls, transit signal prioritization. How do we work all of that? Do you see that as being that sounds fascinating to me, to walk around downtown and see some of the improvements that are being discussed, but also understand how the traffic signals work and who's controlling them, who's making the decisions, how does this the prioritization work in terms of Metro, because with regard to bus rapid transit, Mick, that's been something that's really important. I mean, Tom, do you see that as being a possibility to sort of bundle that together?
Yeah, we could put together a list of locations that might be interesting to see. So each signal location has a controller cabinet that we could have one of our engineers open up, kind of explain how that works. A lot of the software stuff is just software, but we could, view that in the municipal building. But that's really just looking at a screen and showing you how the software works with that. Could be done just as an agenda item outside of a field trip, but we could also bundle it up with a field trip at the municipal building, show our in our office. But I think it could go, different ways, kind of just working out the logistics of getting people around and deciding how much to include. But we're pretty flexible. I mean, we could show all that.
Yeah, I mean, if there are safety improvements in a walkable area, along with the traffic signals, so that's something we can work on. And Stephanie, that I'm interested to hear what you have to say about parking. I mean, there's one big project that's ongoing and has been ongoing for a while, but I don't know about the possibility of touring that.
Yeah, that we can't get in there right now because the private developer is working on their piece of it.
Sure.
But
okay.
As we're looking at, we share a lot of the same facilities. So, I guess my question would be, I know you're talking a lot about seeing, certain projects happening, but there's a lot that happens behind the scenes that I think is very interesting to see what staff is actually doing. If you look at our Sales Street facility where our shop is, they create every sign in the city, and it's pretty amazing to see what they do. We also have, the electrical section. So, they're the staff that is going out there putting up all of the street signs and street lights. We have our parking operations section out there, where they actually will take the meters and they take them apart and they reprogram and it's pretty interesting stuff. And I think it kind of helps bring it all together to understand like the full process. We also have, the enforcement side of this. They're out in the field. They're always happy to, talk with anyone and explain how our enforcement works and why, we do certain things or why there's certain, restrictions, and they're really focused on safety and traffic movement. That is the main reason why they're out there. So just looking at, there are other things happening, and I don't know if you wanna, if it would be best to create a list of, you know, certain items, but we do share a lot of the same facilities, so you can, you know, a lot of times see multiple things. And we also have, you know, if you're downtown for parking, we have our facilities, our meters, our, you know, how we're, you know, we're working on changing, you know, some of our restriction areas, and how that kind of melds in with, you know, TE and Metro. So I just thought I'd throw that out there, that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes and
Yeah.
a lot of staff working very hard that don't come to these meetings. So
Sure. Yeah, no, very, very valuable. Thanks, Stephanie. Ruben, go ahead.
Hi, and apologies. I've been having problems with my video all day, so I will not be on video. But I wanted to say that, and also I was on YouTube watching this, and then I might be a little late. But two things. School district is the one that decides where crossing guards are, so I want to make sure that that's known. And then, and also we've had a discussion with them about middle school versus high school. That's a long discussion that you already had in this commission.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to make sure that people know the mayor is very committed to making sure that pedestrian safety is a top priority. So I wanted to make sure that's not something that we lose in that conversation there. There was a third thing that I was trying to remember, but I think that's fine. I just want to make sure. Hi, Alder, if you want to address me correctly or directly.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. May I ask a question directly to Deputy Mayor?
Yes,
Am I
please
in
go ahead.
line? Okay, I need to better understand the 1.4 mile and the 1.5 mile. I ran into that this morning on Schrader Road, and so maybe we can we can do this offline if you prefer, but I just
Yeah, it'd be
really
good.
need to better understand that. And so I just want to make sure that I put a pin in that and let you know that that's an understanding that I don't have, that I need to be better informed about.
Definitely, I
Yeah,
will.
maybe
I
if
will
we could
follow
take,
up with that. Thank you.
yeah,
Sorry.
if we could take that offline, because that's a bit outside of our agenda topic here, but certainly important. And maybe Ruben, if you can make that connection, that would be appreciated.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you, Alder.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds to me like what might be best to do is to for me to meet with staff and talk through some of these various options. And like I said, we don't have to limit it to one, but we can perhaps prioritize, bring it back to Transportation Commission and then prioritize. And then the hardest part is going to be finding a date that works for everybody, because that was the hardest thing last time around that we had. But does that seem like, Ruben, go ahead.
Sorry, Chair Kovich. The other thing I wanted to mention, and maybe this was mentioned because I was switching from YouTube to Zoom. Maybe Mick has mentioned this. The bike day is going to include a walking tour that maybe people would be interested. Mick, do you have more information on that? I'm not sure. Yang is out right now, and so I know that he's organizing that, and maybe Robbie, you have that, but I know that we are organizing a walk, so it might be a helpful thing instead of organizing a new event to have just people go to this bike event.
Yeah, we can, Tom, I don't have the info on that, but we can certainly get that information and pass it along to the Transportation Commission. Unless anybody online.
Yeah, we've done kind of several bike tours where we go look at different bike infrastructure, kind of recent projects. So, yeah, we can, pass that along or do something separate, similar to that. just for the commission.
Okay. Yeah, we can, so that's a walking tour or a bike tour, Tom? Or both?
The ones I'm thinking of are bike tours that we have done. I'm not sure about the walking tour.
I believe we're doing both, but
okay,
maybe Robbie has more information because Robbie's
Yeah.
very involved.
Yeah, I think walking tour might be more appropriate for what we're talking about here. Robbie, you're nodding your head. Go ahead.
So, well, I was just going to say that in my role as involved with Madison Bikes, I will be sending a link to all the events to the commission. And of course, that's a one-way communication, but we have many, I mean, we usually end up with dozens of events during Bike Week, which is June 1st through 8th. But I know that we have one person from the city and one person from the board of directors for Madison Bikes doing bike tours of infrastructure in different parts of the city. But those are bike tours. We have so many things on the calendar. I haven't looked to see if there's a walking tour. But if anybody wants to schedule one, you can contact me and we can get that on the calendar for that week. But I'll just send an invitation so that people can see all the different events that we have for that week. But that's a Madison Bikes thing, not a Transportation Commission thing. But I just wanted to make sure that people knew that you're all welcome, and I'll send a link to that calendar.
Okay, thanks, Robbie. I appreciate it.
The events are just starting to come in, so it'll be changing right up until the first week of June. So,
okay, great. So does that seem like a good plan? We've got a lot of great suggestions from people. So I'll plan to talk with staff about this, and then we'll try and put together a list of potential opportunities. You know, how long they would take, time of day that would be the best suggestion for them to occur, and bring that back to a future meeting. And regardless of what we do as a transportation commission, I've talked with staff about this in the past, and they are always willing to hear from you individually or in groups of, 2 maybe, to schedule different types of tours. If you're interested in something in particular or want that more individual experience and want to be sure that you're able to get all of your questions answered. So I would offer that as well, because staff is always willing to do that. So does that sound like a good plan to everybody? Okay. All right, great. Well, good topic and great discussion. So appreciate it. Oh, yes, Alder Pritchett. Did you have something, Alder? You're muted.
Please include the bus driver in whatever it is that you're going to do. They're the people behind the wheel. They know the ins and outs, the ebb and flow of what's going on. And to not include them in a survey or in a bus tour, I think would be kind of sad.
Okay, thanks for your feedback. Appreciated. Okay, anything else before we move off? Ruben.
I just wanted to say, I believe, and I apologize, Robbie, that I was claiming the Bike Week. No, yes, we're working with them, but I believe buses are included in that tour. But again, I need to make sure that Yang is fully on board, and I know he was organizing that. So bus drivers are definitely included in the conversations that we're having. Thank you, Alder, and thank you, Chair.
Okay. Yeah, Thanks. Yeah, Yang is at a professional function, so he was here earlier for a little while, but not able to be here now. Anything else before we move on? Okay. Thanks, everybody. Next we have crossover reports from other BCCs that members are on. And we have a lot of people who are on a lot of different boards, committees, and commissions. Does anybody have anything to report tonight? I'm not seeing any hands. Okay. Next we have announcements. I don't have any announcements this evening, so we will move on. Terms of future agenda items, it will be interesting to see. At this point in time, I don't have a lot. Really just have one item for the May 28th meeting. But I'll have to wait and see what referrals we might have from the Common Council. If we don't, I think we might be able to push that item to the next meeting, and we may not have a meeting on the 28th, but we'll keep you informed as we go. And we do look at all the future agenda items that were suggested by TC members, as well as our work plan, to see if there's anything that we can bring forward. But we do, as everybody knows, had some, we're in the middle of a lot of staff turnover as well at the management level. So I don't want to ask people to put something together on short notice when there's a lot of other stuff going on as well. So does anybody have any other future agenda items that they would like to see added to our list? And Lynn, you had brought some stuff out related to Metro last time, and Mick will cover those in his transit equity update that's going to be coming in a couple meetings. So where we do have things like that, and ProAg, that's Bill, that's that's something at the top of everybody's list, and we're interested in that. We just have to figure out timing on that. So those are a couple that we've had a lot of conversations about. Anything else that and right on red is on there as well, which came up tonight. Any other future agenda items from TC members for our list? Okay. Then we need a motion to adjourn. Chris.
Move adjournment.
Alder Martinez Rutherford.
I will second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second, and I'm going to assume a unanimous consent vote. And nobody's ever voted no, so figure that will be the case. So thanks, everybody. Great discussion tonight, as usual. Thanks a lot. Take care.